Hi, welcome back to Does My Bank Still Love Me? I'm still Jackie Benster, and I'm still talking with Tracie Holiday-Robinson.
I'm still here.
And she's still the queen, too.
Yes, I am.
Okay, we were just talking about you found your house.
Yes, yes.
You've come down to way down south away from your home, but you found a house that looks like it might be the perfect fit. So you see this, and the first thought you said was, gee, I don't think we're going to be able to afford this, and your real estate agent says, yes, you can. So then what happens?
Well, I want to back up a little bit because we saw so many houses that we were, we needed a 5 or 6 bedroom home. I have to say that.
Okay.
We had we have 4 children,
yeah.
and my mother lives with us.
Oh.
And so we had to have that much space. So Mama could have her own room, of course. And so we were looking at all these houses, and it was just like every house we went into, we were going to have to fix it up or fix a room. And I'm like, no, the house that is ready for us is already fixed up. We won't have to we won't have to fix the windows. We won't have to fix the roof. We won't have to do any of that stuff. The house is going to be ready for us.
So you just kind of knew inside. You had a knowing that the house was waiting for you.
Yes, I did. I have to say my connection with God. So, and that's what it was. But it was like the house we get, because there were several houses that we were almost going to just like, okay, we're going to get it. One house, I just have to tell you this story. One house we went into, and before we went in, and I don't know why the real estate agent said this house is sealed. He said, oh, nothing can get in and nothing can get out. And I'm like, well, why would, and I said, okay, that's strange. You know, he said, oh, this house is sealed. You don't have to worry about, you know, like bugs and stuff. Okay, we opened the door and there was a bird in there. And I said, okay, the bird just went ahead and just negated everything you just said to us at the door. And it was like, okay, the bird was almost dying. I'm like, okay, you already know we're not getting this house. Because it's like, okay, the bird is, you know, we had to shoo the bird out.
There were no bugs in there.
No, there weren't any bugs,
food,
but there was a bird in there. So it was like, so if it's sealed, how did the bird get in?
Yeah.
So it was like, no. And so when we pulled up to this house, it was like, how many bedrooms is this house? And he said, it's 5. And I'm like, okay, we were looking for a 5. And we went in, and it's a split level house. And oh my goodness, the windows, I mean, the whole house had been totally remodeled 3 years before. And so, I mean, everything was still brand new. Everything, the windows, the roof, everything, the plumbing. I mean, everything was, and I just kept saying, we can't afford this. We can't afford this. And he kept saying, yes, you can. Yes, you can. And we did. I mean, it was still a process because our landlord didn't want to let us go because we had been in her house for 9 years, and she did not want to write this letter saying, okay, they were good tenants and they're paid up. I said, but we are paid up, so why aren't you writing a letter? You know, and she just kept saying, but, you know, I'm going to write it. And then she was like, no, I don't know. It was like,
sorry, why did you need a letter from your landlady?
Because we had been renting.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they want to make sure is that you have good history, rental history, before you buy.
Okay,
And
so your lender wanted the
yes,
note.
the
Okay,
lender
right,
wanted that information. And so that was a process because she didn't really want to let us go. And you know, you have to think about it. I mean, you know, we were there for 9 years, and you know, we were great tenants, and we kept her house up. You know, my husband even cut the lady's grass next door after her husband passed away, and her son wouldn't get around to it. He would cut her front yard, and it was just I didn't want to move. But anyway, back to, we did move. It was great. And you know, when we moved into the house, they were supposed to have taken all this stuff, and they left a lot of their junk.
Good furniture or just
No,
junk?
it was junk in the garage. I mean, junk. And it's like, okay, weren't they supposed to take this? But that was the one downfall. That was the one downfall, is that we had to get rid of their junk.
Yeah. Now, since our program is Does My Bank Still Love Me, and we talk a lot about mortgages, you bought this a foreclosed house. I assume that you had to deal with the lender who foreclosed on the house. Is that correct? Did you have only one lender that you could deal with?
When we first bought the house, we had to get a second mortgage.
Okay.
And so we were dealing with 2 different banks, because it just was really crazy. So we were dealing with Countrywide and another bank. And then Countrywide sold it. And then another bank. Okay, short story. The house was sold. Our mortgage was sold like 4 times in like 3 years.
Okay, that's
And
pretty
so,
typical.
and then it ended up back with Countrywide. But we had 2 mortgages. And so we ended up refinancing 3 years later to get 1 mortgage.
Okay.
And so, and then that was a total mess. And we got in the mess. And we got an adjustable rate mortgage, and it was a mess. But I can just say now, after years of fighting with all of that, we are now on a 30-year fix. And so.
Great. That's great. So the timing was in 2003. You found the foreclosed house and you purchased it.
Yes.
Now that was after the .com mess, but this guy, the people who lost it weren't necessarily .comers.
Well, I don't.
So you bought it really. Let's see. The real estate market was still going up until around 2005. In 2006, you refied, and that was a mess. Why was it a mess?
Well, do you have time? Okay. How much time do you have? So, okay, we went through a friend of my cousin's, which I'll never do that again. And he was telling us, okay, well, you know, you're going to have a 30-year fix, you know, and you're going to be able to get, you know, some equity out and be able to, you know, take care of some bills and everything. Well, we didn't find out that this man was crooked until we got to escrow. And yes, hardly any of the stuff that he said, it was a 2-year fix, not a 30-year fix. And because he told us, oh, you don't have to pay your mortgage. Never let anybody tell you don't have to pay your mortgage. Pay your mortgage every month, no matter what. Let the bank give you a refund check.
All right.
You know, but he told us we didn't have to pay for 2 months because we were refinancing. Well, when we got to escrow, and it was a 2-year fix, and then it was going to go to adjustable, which it did. It was like, wait a minute, but we had to sign the paperwork, or we would have lost our house at that point.
Because you were 2 months behind.
Because
on
we
your
were 2 months
payments
behind
at that point.
on our mortgage.
Yes.
So we would have lost our house.
Yes.
But we didn't.
Well, God bless.
Yes, and it was God that we didn't lose our house. So that, you know, so we did kind of get caught up in that. But now, like I said, we're in a 30-year fix at 5.1, which is awesome.
Good for you.
So yeah, and you know, but that whole process, it was just crazy because it was like all we wanted to do was get our first and second mortgage together.
Yeah.
And then take out some equity to be able to, pay for the car. It's like, so we don't have a car note. And it was like, you know, we had this whole thing in our mind.
And you did it, your timing was perfect. It sounds to me like your timing has been just perfect all the way through this story. You bought it in 2003, you got a great deal, property values went up, you refied at the right time, you know, it sounds like you were really guided. Blessed.
Blessed,
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
it was, I think so.
So I have to ask you, do you miss the Central District?
Well, I have to tell you, I don't miss the Central District because I work in the Central District, so I'm there every day. And so I still get to, you know, see our old house. And I just think it's a blessing where we are, even though it's 25 miles one way from my front door at our house to my front door at my job. But I don't mind the commute at all. I have, my youngest daughter is a junior in high school, so we just get in the carpool lane, and she goes to school in Seattle. And so, so we just get in the carpool lane, and that's our time together. So
that's marvelous. So you got your house, and you were still able to have your child, at least this one, go to school in the Central District.
She is in the Central District.
Great.
We did have to put her in a private school, though.
Yeah.
See, and that's a whole nother story, but that's a whole nother blessing, too.
Well, we can't get into another story at this point because they're waving at me to wrap it up. So
already?
We're going to have to say goodbye, and you've been just a marvelous guest. Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
I totally enjoyed chatting with you.
Well, thank you, Jackie. It was so nice to meet you.
All right, well, come back again.
I certainly will.
All right. Well, this ends another segment of Does My Bank Still Love Me? And kind of nice change of pace here to find that when a house goes through foreclosure, it can cause a lot of pain and suffering, but it also can bring a lot of joy on the other side. So God bless us all, everyone. Thanks for watching.